Well, we're back. 2020. Man, oh man, oh man. 2020. N- Uh, I don't know. I don't know where the time has went, but it's here. Got to make the most of it. So with tonight's show, we wanted to have like an open court forum where any concerns that you have in 2000, going into 2020, and now we're here in 2020. This is the opportunity for you to type it in, call in, and just let's have an open forum, a discussion, because I mean, it's tons and tons of things that's I know on my mind um, going into 2020 that hopefully by the end, it won't preoccupy my mind, only in a positive way. Got Herb in the house. Ron Robinson, thanks for joining. Chet, thanks for joining. Ebony Swanson, thanks for joining. Um, so also with that, um, well, happy New Year's to the folks that tune in to the Counselor's Corner and hanging out with Herb on a weekly basis. I hope everybody had a good holiday season and starting off the new year on the right way and try to build some momentum and keep it going. But also, what I wanted to speak on too is again, no Friday foolishness. Um, Last time we spoke when I was on live, I ended up going to Niagara Falls, had a book signing, and it was a good outcome. I was proud. Niagara Falls came through. They represented. People bought books. They also bought the revised books. They bought Melvin T-shirts. So it was a good outcome. Who else we got on here? Chanel Pryor, Ina Kuhn, Jeff Rivers, Jazz. What's going on, Jeff? Roger Davis and Chantrell Brown. Thanks for joining. And happy belated birthday, Chantrell. And Tamika Dean, thanks for joining. So what I decided to do with on No Friday Foolishness for the people that has the book, and it's not too late for other people to put in orders because it's a self-help reflection book. I decided to go live and talk about each statement that I put out there. I just did one, I think it was New Year's Eve. Then I posted about the second one. So here's the second one right now. Then I'm going to go on, one of these days this week. And it's not going to be a long segment like this one, which is an hour long. This is going to be 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour at the most. But the second one is when folks always look for the negative in you, sometimes you just have to keep moving forward. I would not get in the habit of listening to this crap for too long. If a person only sees negativity in you, they will minimize any good thing you do. They will be better out of your life unless you're keeping them around to prove them wrong or you're stuck on stupid. What are some of the reasons you keep negative people in your life? So that was the question that I proposed. Why do you keep negative people in your life? So kind of let that marinate, chime in on those posts, and then the day I go live, if you got the book, hopefully you have written in it and you can come in with your actual dialogue. Good evening, Ebony and Francis. Ruther Stevens, thanks for joining me. So, with the open court forum, I mean, again, I have my concerns about some things going into 2020. For one, in June I'll be 50, so I'm kind of blessed to be obviously blessed that I'm still living, still healthy, and still, trying to have some upward mobility, keep grinding. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, 50. I just remember when my mother turned 50. That seemed like yesterday, but that was like 18 years ago. I was 32, and I did not know these 18 years was gonna fly by like that. But here you have it. So I'm gonna, throughout I'll speak on some of my concerns, but I'm gonna pass it on over to Herb and Herb, what's going on? How was your new year and what's your thought process as far as this open court and 2020, this open dialogue that you want to have tonight?
I'm hoping this becomes a transformative part of the show. I'm hoping we can do this, maybe once a month, to address some concerns that the callers and listeners have, because, we can always talk about things that interest us, but we do this show mainly for the listeners. I have a pretty good handle on my life, and I'm sure David does. So, our issues aren't necessarily your issues. So we want to know about what your issues are, because more often than not, your issues are actually going to have more of an impact when we speak about them relative to our listeners. So that was the reason why we brought in the lady a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about red flags in a relationship. So, those are the type of calls that we look forward to, the type of input we look to help elevate the show. So you can share it and you get more out of the show than just us, speaking back and forth about what tends to be common issues. Now, I haven't heard anything regarding the South Carolina bill regarding consent, so that's something I'll go back and research and keep you abreast of about that. But we're starting to move into now some economic issues that a lot of people probably aren't aware of. And for those of you who are in fields where automation is going to be coming down the pipe, I'm going to tell you now, make sure you start stacking your paper. I preach about getting your finances set, and I'm on that 4-year plan, and I'm sticking to that 4-year plan. So when that 4 years is up, I will have erased about $60,000 in debt. You heard me correctly, $60,000 in debt. And I'm on that road now, and I'm sticking to it. So if you haven't laid out your financial goals for at least this year and 5 years beyond, pull out your paper, pencil, or whatever it is you like to write on, your favorite stationery, and get busy. We've had Dietrich Gunn showed us, spoken about investing in gold. I plan to buy at least 40 to 50 ounces of silver and or an ounce of gold. So that's going to be about $2,000 or $3,000 this year. I'm also picking up another part-time job if everything goes according to the plan with the U.S. Census. That's going to be about 15 hours a week. So I'm stacking paper, people, and I advise y'all to do the same things. So when you want to go do something, all you got to do is move on it.
That's true. And I'm going to jump into that gold thing. He's been pushing it on me. And, at one point I had got started, I registered and everything, but then I wanted to come out with my book as well. So that kind of took finances because you have to pay people for services. But it was important to me. It was a goal because I couldn't just hang my hats on cocktail conversations. It's only so much you can speak on and go on. That's just like a rapper or R&B singer. They come out with one good album and then they disappear. It just doesn't work. So you have to be innovative, you have to be progressive, and you have to, keep thinking, have your wheels spinning. So that was important to me. But now, like Herbert said, it's time to stack paper. It's time to find other streams of income, because nothing is guaranteed, and it's getting treacherous out here with some of the things that's going on, some of the weird shit that's just happening on a day-to-day basis. I swear, when I get dressed and watch Good Morning America or the news, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this world? We're going through some sick times.
Yeah, man. You posted that post earlier about the guy killing the seagulls, and I'm just thinking, why in the world do people like to attack wildlife just randomly? It makes no sense. Some things are just beyond my comprehension, and that's one of those things I'll never get it. I mean, I'm an animal lover. Hunting is probably something I wouldn't do unless I had to do it to survive. But just to randomly kill animals just because, that to me speaks of a deep-seated issue.
Yeah.
Also, I want to acknowledge my CEO from our not-for-profit organization, Chester Watcher, and we're also looking to put together funding for that program as well too. The Elite Basketball Family, Western New York Wolves. I'll be starting up a donors list, going through my friends list. So there'll be slots available for those people who wish to donate too. And like I tell people, get involved in civic organizations. Some of y'all women out there are looking to date, or you're just looking to extend, looking to extend your boundaries of friendships. That's an excellent way to get involved in your community. I know Niagara Falls has just sworn in our new mayor. They're looking for people to not necessarily be community activists, but to head several community organizations and volunteer work. And it looks great on your resume. That's something I can't stress, especially for people who are looking to fill in voids or gaps, or for the younger people in your mid-30s looking to get into private organizations. It's an excellent way to get a foothold into understanding your local civics, your state and national civics, and even now that we're moving into a global economy, you get global civics. Because believe it or not, these trade wars that President Trump has been boiled in, they're hurting pockets. Middle America is becoming devoid of people. They're all moving either west or south, and moving our western structures just because of the fact that real estate prices are rising to the point where the average person can't afford a home. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that, you should be abreast of, even though you may not like it. It may sound dull, it may sound boring. Who wants to sit around and watch the ticker tape of the NASDAQ or the S&P 500 or any other investment tool, and you sit there and say, this stuff doesn't make any sense to me? Go find somebody else you can partner with, because tax season is coming around. And I know some people are going to be getting back the lump sums, and Melvin's going to be sitting there waiting like a vulture on that porch, and he's looking to get some money. So, take that money and invest it in your kids. Get that 529 savings plan open. Go buy some gold. Go buy some jewelry. Look, buy some precious gems, some titanium.
No, I got something
Take somebody out.
I got something to add to the tax season. I'm probably wrong for saying this. I don't care. It is, tax season is coming. The Melvins will be lurking. They left probably right before that layaway plan had ended. Not the layaway plan with the older man and the younger woman, the real layaway plan that you put the kids' items on layaway, and it was due December 14th. Melvin lured his way back into the household, and then you was pressing him like, okay, you're gonna go half on the kids' stuff. You're gonna go half because of course everything now that they want is expensive as hell. These electronic devices, these iPhone 11s and these PS4s and Xboxes and the different games that go with it and the gift cards and all that. So he probably had to drop a little money. No, not Melvin. His ass got up out of there and went back to mom's or his sister's to stay for a few weeks. And now he'll be sweet talking you back to get back in good with you during income tax season. And I know some of you say, oh, that doesn't happen. There's nowhere in hell. I know it happens for a fact. I know it happens. No, I'm not a Melvin. I work, have a good, honest living, but I know that there's people out there doing it. I know females that go through it, and it's kind of sad. It's the same thing year over year, year after year after year. But I guess one of the things that bother me about it, and I still don't understand, and maybe that's just not where my mindset is at, and I know that people who make less money, they try to give them opportunity to get money because they know they're going to put it back into the the economic system. But something just don't add up right about that. Something just don't add up where you have people making $12,000 for the year purposely so they can get $10,000 back. What the hell? But then you have some people making 70, 80, 90, and they have to worry about owing and have to pay stuff back. Nah, that equation don't add up to me. Doesn't add up. And somebody needs to work on that to make it make sense and make it fair for people that desire to make money. They should be rewarded money at the end. That's my little take.
5 streams of income, people. That's the magic number. Usually, I've read and I've been told that well-to-do people have at least 5 streams of income. So that whether that's your work, you're investing in somebody else, you're getting residuals from stocks, real estate, and that's a big thing that's coming up. If you have money and you're looking to invest and you're not sure, but you want something relatively safe, real estate is your best bet. I know China is an emerging market, and some of you people probably thinking, why the hell would I want to invest in China? Because China is the new capitalist society, and they are open for business. So if you're looking for, if you're in the foreign market, invest in China. If you're not in the foreign markets, you want to be black only, invest in Eastern Africa. You know, they're getting their cash infusion from China. If you got and I know how this is going to sound, if you have a few $1,000s laying around, or you haven't invested, or you were able to follow the envelope down challenge that David was posting last year, you should have that money sitting around. Take that money and invest it. I can't stress enough to people to invest, because that's the only way you're actually going to get ahead in this lifetime in terms of finances. I know people working. I know you're making a good income, and you figure, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Well, you got to start factoring in retirement, because like David said, he's turning 50. I just turned 48, and my whole mindset is looking towards retirement. You know, I like to travel. I like to get out and do things. I plan on going to see my Sixers play in Toronto, and I got some more Sabres games coming up, and I'm still not giving up on the dancing lessons. So I'm out there. I'm out there making it happen. Excuse me. Can't stress it you enough. Get out there and make it happen. Enjoy your life, but, you know, make sure you have some things aside. Make sure you have a will. Make sure you have power of attorney if you need that set up. Make sure your kids are set so they don't have to worry about burying you.
And I think that's a big thing too. And I don't want to single out blacks, but I know that a lot of times and not all of them. So if for any of you that's listening, say not all. If you come with that weak ass argument, I'm only gonna get in your tail, because that's a weak argument. But for example, I could say a great deal of blacks that don't have life insurance and stuff like that. So, and you think they may have something, and they don't, because they don't want to pay the premium of, you know, whatever it is, 120, 125 or a month or whatever the package is, and they don't end up doing it. So then they end up passing away, and their children or family members don't end up with anything. And now you're talking about a GoFundMe thing, trying to raise money for a funeral or getting social services to pay for it. But meanwhile, some of our counterparts, they have those life insurance policies, and if something happens to the parents, they end up, you know, getting 250,000, 500,000 or whatever, and that money right there kind of gets them going. They can get a home, they can pay off this or pay off that, and they putting themselves in a good situation. We're always digging and working ourselves out of a deficit, and like anything, like I tell my students with grades, or like when you play sports, if you fall behind too long, it's just going to be too hard to catch up. It's just too much. There's not enough overtime in the world. And if you don't get any overtime, how the hell could you get out of a hole? How could you get out of a hole unless you have some type of hustle? But it usually requires money for that. So you're, you know, pretty much headed down a dead end road.
Also, there's insurance policies that you have that you can purchase that you can borrow against. They also build money up over time, so that's always an option. You know, don't limit yourself to what you just hear us speak about. Just get out there and read. You know, your biggest source of information is not only your neighbors. It could be people who do tax preparation. It could be your coworkers. I know I speak about, you know, finances with just about anybody. I had an hour I think it was about an hour and 10 minute conversation with a complete stranger yesterday. We talked about everything from police brutality to almost conspiracy theories. And I'm not a big conspiracy theory person, but the conversation went that way. You should be able to be diverse enough in what you know and what you can talk about to entertain any conversation, and that bleeds into relationships. I know a lot of people, they go out on first date and they're nervous because they don't know what to talk about. And so you sit there hoping the other person sparks something in your soul that lights the fire up, and you carry the conversation and you sit there and you say, you know what, this has been an enjoyable evening. And to what David said earlier at the sipping dips, actually, your first date should be lunch. That way there is no stress. Go out to a coffee house, go out and sit down and have a pastry, go to Starbucks, go to Tim Hortons, go anywhere that you can get in, get comfortable real quick, exchange some information to see if you want to pursue any type of relationship, whether it just be a casual relationship or something that you can build on and go farther with. I know the scenario was just posted earlier regarding the young brother and the older sister who wanted to continue their relationship, but there was the issue with children. And I always tell people, put your cards on the table, because those are the type of situations that can be avoided. And I know a couple people mentioned a couple of excellent solutions. One was adoption. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of adoption unless it's family. That's just my personal edict. I would never talk somebody out of adoption. I've been in foster care myself. There's just some things that are sacred to me. A family is one of those things. If you're going to adopt, do it within family. But if you're looking to have children and adoption isn't an issue, surrogacy is always an issue. And I can't remember who posted the surrogacy comment. I know Randy posted the adoption. So, those are things that are out there. When you're engaged in relationships, no matter what the relationships is, like I said previously, relationships are how you get through life. Whether you relate poorly to people, you relate well to people. Everything you do is a relationship. So you either have a good rapport, bad rapport, or your rapport is just, it is what it is. That's how you build bridges. That's how you get those promotions. That's how you get in good with people. There's a book out there, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I don't recall the author. Pick that book up and read it. I know I'm in the process now of making it a habit to purchase one book every month until I've exhausted my book list. Now, our book list has got to be about 200 books long. David has seen my house before. He's seen where I plan to put my library, my music room. So those are some of the things that I'm looking to personally accomplish. And like I said before, property is going to be a huge thing, and I can't stress it enough. So for you people, that sounds bad, but for people that have kids, start pushing them to understand the real estate market. And you don't need a degree to go out and purchase real estate. You don't need to go out and spend tons of money. You can get together with a group of people, and each one of y'all can contribute a couple $100 a month until you get to the point where you can buy property. You can do a B&B with that. You can do whatever it is you want to with that. You can rent it out. Y'all can be establishing a management property or LLC to own property, and that's another revenue stream. So all these things that we are putting out there, write them down and take a look at them. Especially if you're struggling to make ends meet as a single parent, whether you're male or female, more often than not, most single parents happen to be female. Those are ways that you can build residual income, and before you know it, you're moving up in earnings. So now you don't have to worry about Melvin coming to post on you for your tax return. You can say, hey, Melvin, look, beat it. You're not doing anything for me.
Now let me, for anybody who wants to come in and have something to say, the number is posted above. It's 605-313-5375, and the code is 268328. So again, that's 605-313-5375, and the Code is 268328, and that's above in the description. And you said about the author of How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's by Dale Carnegie, and I resort to that book a lot. I reference that book a lot, like going through and reading, picking it up from time to time, and reading different chapters. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was posted earlier over the weekend, and it was his love. It was called "His Love Is Different." So this is just a scenario, and it's based on, a black woman saying that black men, they talk up a good game, they get in there, they jump in your inbox, but then once the bright lights are on, they don't do what they say they're going to do. So in this particular case, it said Felicia wanted something different. She was tired of black men jumping in her inbox and talking up a good game. But once they get you into public, they never show her any affection. On social media, on social media, they never post pictures of the two on their page. Are they being sneaky, holding out for the next best thing? But when she got with Dylan, uh, when she when she got with Dylan, he went out full force and did not care what others thought or felt about them. And Dylan would be a white guy. Brothers or sisters, what are your thoughts about Felicia, and what are your experiences with these issues? So in that case, she was saying that, brothers are saying they quick to DM you or jump in your inbox, and you go out with them. Then it's totally something different where a woman may be looking for some a little public display of affection, but they always seem like they got some shady business with them. But meanwhile, Dylan stepped in, and he held her hands, and they laughed and hugged and all that stuff. And I guess at the time, that's, well, maybe period, that's what she wanted. So, what are your takes on conversations like that? Because that's becoming more relevant, and it's happening because of certain situations where in dynamics that relationships are faltering.
Personally speaking, I keep my personal life off of social media. That's one of the reasons why I'm not on Snapchat, Instagram, and all those other social medias. I'm having a difficult time deciding whether I want to follow a popular fashion advice giver on Instagram, and he gives out some excellent information. That's just the way I am, and it's ironic that I have that particular stance, considering some of the public engagements I've engaged in. So, but I think for a lot of people that ends up adding another layer to their relationship, and often that's one of the things that leads to the dissatisfaction and the eventual disillusion of that relationship, because they think that they should be like their favorite Hollywood starlet or their favorite Hollywood hunk. And we see that relationships in Hollywood don't last. They're just not built like that. It takes two people committed to make a relationship work. And I was listening to a podcast earlier on, and a woman said, when you get married and you get into that type of relationship, it's a war. And when I heard her say it, I said, that doesn't sound right. But then she got to explain it, what it entails, especially when you have kids. She said, you got to be willing to fight for what you believe in. You have to fight for the things that you want. So if you want some extra time, you got to let it be known. Hey, look, this isn't working out for me like this. I need this. And there's a way of going about expressing your concerns and your desires that aren't passive aggressive, but they're well stated, so the other individual isn't put off by a demand. And make no mistake about it, it's a demand. But you can make a demand of anyone that allows them to understand exactly what it is you want, and they won't have to feel any way about it other than having to adjust what it is that they do. we see this all the time. You know, you let's say you're in highway traffic and there's bumper to bumper. You got somewhere to go, but you know, you got somebody in the right lane driving 55. You got somebody in the left lane driving 60. You can't get by. How do you manage that? How do you let one of those drivers know that you want to get by, that you got somewhere to go? Where your communication doesn't exist. We get those type of situations all the time. I know in my profession, I deal a lot with people whose first language isn't English. So you have to figure out a way to communicate to them what it is that you want from them, or that you may need to give them, so they can go ahead and enjoy whatever festivities that they're engaged in. And it's just another way to relate to people. It could be something as insignificant as a picture, or nowadays with technology, if you have somebody that speaks Spanish, you can pick up a translation app and you can type in and it'll translate in real time. We have all these tools, all this technology available, but we don't seem to want to use it to better ourselves. And I marvel sometimes at the lack of people that are unwilling to verify certain things. You know, they'll see something on Facebook and they'll run with it. And I posted about that maybe about a month or so ago. I'm like, people, stop running with these conspiracy theories until you vet them. You know, just like now the popular talks about the impeachment, and I'm thinking, people, you really know this is a sham. The impeachment's never going to make it through the Senate. It's a Republican-controlled Senate. Or now with the latest one, going to war with Iran. I'm like, there's not going to be any war. There's not going to be any conventional war because the weapons have progressed to the point where conventional wars are a thing of the past. And they really are. And then with China coming on board and China building up its military, particularly its Navy, they have an aircraft carrier, and I know this ain't bore some of y'all. They have an aircraft carrier that they purchased from Russia, and they revamped it, and now they have their own aircraft carrier. For people that don't understand the significance of that, is that the world is primarily composed of water. Once you start controlling the waterways, you control shipping. And once you can control shipping, you get to impose embargoes on countries around the world. And that's one of the things that the U.S. has. The U.S. has embargoes against countries mainly because they're going to force them through military might. So now that because I had a cell phone years ago that I couldn't get upgraded because of an embargo against China. I had purchased a cell phone. I had it for about 4 months. Wasn't any good anymore. I was pissed. But what can I do? Good evening, Marcia.
Good evening, Marcia.
You know, get abreast of what's going on. You know, we might live in the United States of America, but there's a very big world out here. And this is what I tell my mentees. But depending on where you live in, you can always have something to do. Always have something new to do. Some people new to meet. And if you haven't done what I suggested last year in terms of starting a bridge club or a car club or taking cooking classes or meeting up with friends, what are you waiting for?
Let me jump in, and I'm gonna keep saying this, and I'm gonna keep riding this theme that people need to understand when they talking about solutions to anything, that they know that the dysfunction start in the household, and until you correct those, don't expect anything out in your neighborhood to change, or your other outside communities in your city. Example, like here in Baltimore, I mean, it was, I think, maybe 348, 349 murders in 2019. Now that's pretty much a damn murder a day. And these people, they have no care or concern. It could happen on Christmas, it could be on Thanksgiving, or whatever the case. They out here just killing people, and you have to understand that the people doing that, it probably came somewhere from deep down, hurt or pain from something in the household. Now we can try to blame the school system. We can, we've talked about this before about white supremacy, but sooner or later it has to come to a point that people in the house have to come together, and we have to find a way to make, I ain't gonna say make America great again, but just make households great again. Make people have some decency towards other human beings, because it's wild. It is wild. And I see it on the daily basis at school. And these kids, they just mean spirited, just mean spirited. I put up a post earlier, and I get entertainment off of it when they try to crack jokes out of me. Now I know on the other hand, I've seen kids that make teachers cry and stuff like that, and run them out of a school. So I'm walking in the hall. It's Monday today, and I'm trying to get to my office, and they got this thing that they are like, Mr. Glover, your drip is phony. Drip swag, style. I don't pay no attention to nobody who whites don't look clean and they already look, but that's an adult issue. But me and a couple other teachers, we snap back. We give them the reality. Like, you just can't say anything to anybody and think they're not going to say anything back. And I'm kind of witty. So, but I was walking by and she was like, oh, what did she say? She said, Mr. Glover, your drip, it it ain't that, or something to that effect. With something to that effect. I kind of chuckled and laughed like she's crazy. No, good morning, Mr. Glover. How you doing? That was her first thing. Looked me up and down. But I know we got like a joking little thing like that, because on Friday I had some jeans, a sweater, button down underneath, and I had on some Air Max. All of a sudden, my drip was, oh man, my drip was on point. My drip was on fire. So they're funny. And they say things, and I always try to tell them, like, sometimes, like, I can handle it, but not everything you say to someone they can handle it. And but that still doesn't matter to them, whatever, because they want to be respected, and they think being respect is about overpowering or making someone weak, and those things have to be worked together with the home and the schools and church and whatever religious aspect they have in their life. But we don't get a handle on this stuff. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and it's pretty bad right now. It's sad and it's pathetic, because the social media, the access to the phones, the things that they do. Friday, I spent all day pretty much at school dealing with a video of a girl masturbating that was going around, and somebody said it was this one particular girl. She said it wasn't her. So now, but they don't know. They got themselves into something that they may not get out of, because some detectives are going to be involved. So, they do stuff like that, and they think it's funny. They think they could just easily delete a page or change the name, like there's no way to track this stuff. And this is the stuff that they're doing and occupying their minds with when they're at school. And it's on their mind all day, every day. So we got some dilemmas, and I speak about the school issues quite often.
Also, another thing to follow that up, a lot of the listeners may not be aware, but if, and I stress, if a kid, doesn't matter what the relationship is to you, that the child is, text you something that can be considered pornographic, you are in trouble. Just like David said, you can't erase it. That's one of the reasons why I do not give out my cell phone number to any of my mentees. It's a one-way ticket to a sex charge, and once that hits you, you're done. You're never going to be able to work with kids again. You're never going to be able to work as a volunteer in certain situations. Certain jobs will be off limits. It's a very nasty thing, and I would advise you, check your kids' phones, particularly the boys. Now, and I know how this sounds. We're in a time and situation where girls are indoctrinated to be more aggressive, particularly once they start to hit their puberty years, pardon me. So make sure you're checking your phones periodically. And I don't care what kind of fuss they put up. I don't care if they tell you about you invading their privacy. I don't care what they say. It's your job as a parent. It's your job as a parent to make sure that they are on the up and up, because you are protecting them against themselves. Go ahead, Sandra, what did you have to discuss?
It was something, David. Did y'all already discuss it?
What was
David,
yeah.
what the David post he had?
And what was the
about going through the phone or something?
I think I'll pull it up. It was a scenario.
Okay, hold on.
This was it was a quick scenario. I said, hey bro, I said, hey bro, you mad at him for inboxing back and forth with her, but he was plowing her first, but you decided to wife her up. So basically meaning that a guy was dealing with a woman at one point, sleeping with her, and cool with another guy, but the other guy decides that he wants to wife her up. But now the woman is still reaching out to the ex. So it's been a lot of dialogue going back and forth with that. My take is you mad at homeboy who was dealing with her first, but now you decided to marry the woman. You need to take care of your business at home. You need to take care of that. That's first. That's first, because you never know what the guy is feeling in the first place, wondering like why the hell would you marry her, or whatever the case is. But it's a lot of ways that can play out. So I know you had some feedback that you wanted to add to that, Sandra. So go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, why is he going through her phone? And he should have asked her first, because just because they ex don't mean they sleeping together. They still could be friends.
Yeah.
Or do men think differently? I don't know.
That you can't be friends with someone?
Be friends with your ex. Yeah. Because,
I mean,
not going out on no dates or anything with them or anything like that.
I guess it depends on the level of comfort that the guy is in the relationship. If they're solid.
I want to say, heck no, you can't talk to no ex.
And a lot of guys.
The larger question becomes this: who is a woman most likely to have an affair or an infidelity with?
Not her ex.
I didn't ask that. I said, who is she more likely to have one with?
Oh, maybe another man, but not the ex. And they friends? Nope.
Okay, now how often have we heard about friends sleeping with friends?
Friends can sleep with friends when they want to.
No. How often have we? I'm trying to paint a picture. I don't want to give you the information before I paint the picture. How often is it that we hear of people that are acquaintances?
Oh, yeah, we hear a lot of friends. Yeah, friends end up, yeah. And friends do too.
and that's the reason why. It's the old adage that familiarity breeds contempt. So if an individual knows where you keep knows your secrets and knows how to effectively unlock you and unhinge you, that individual has a much better success rate at getting you in a state of arousal that which you may drop your guard. And you can look at dropping your guard in however manner you want to. So this is one of the reasons why.
First of all, I'm not going to go and be with him by myself. You know, I'm not going to be with him. Anyway, I'm not going to go out with him, continue to see him.
It may not be in that case. It may be you and your girlfriends and him, like multiple, people. And, if y'all drinking and carrying on, and if you're going through it at home, like Herbert said, he knows how to unlock that key. He knows. Been there, done that. He knows. He knows what to get you to drink that's going to get you loose and open. And it depends on how he handles it. He may do it.
This is why a lot of people do not trust themselves around people they have dated before, because they know they're vulnerable. It's as simple as somebody that's a recovery for alcohol or drugs. What do they stay away from? They stay away from alcohol and drugs because they know that's their weakness. I have one ex-girlfriend who I will not allow myself to be around in any capacity. I just won't.
Right.
Any capacity.
She make you weak, Herb?
Listen. It can't happen. She's my kryptonite. Everybody has one. Everybody has a kryptonite that just, they just say, okay, you know what? I can't do it. She's that individual. And mind you, I haven't seen her in 25 years.
You said 25?
But it's 25.
Oh,
And
wow.
Hey, as long as I can control what I do and where I go, it's gonna be for the rest of my life. It can't happen. I already know what the situation is gonna be.
One of your exes?
Yes.
Can always get you there.
Well, it's not about
Yes,
always.
no.
Well, you can't put me on the spot. I'm a co-host.
You the one said it. I'm just trying to clarify it.
If I said it, then there's nothing to clarify. I just said the individual is my kryptonite, so there's no way in the world, as long as I have some say-so in my presence wherever I go, that I'm going to be around this individual.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me read this. Jeff Rivers said, mature people can be friends, but it's about having an understanding.
Well, the problem with the understanding is this. I don't speak English. I speak Spanish. So if you say no, and I get to tickling them ivories, and all of a sudden that no because I don't know, and all of a sudden next time we doing a Humpty dance.
Okay, but where's the maturity in that?
The maturity?
Yeah. I agree with what you said.
What is immature about a biological impulse?
What is immature by a biological impulse? When I don't know how to answer that question.
Nothing. There's nothing wrong about wanting to have sex. It's a primal human urge.
But we're talking about sex with somebody that's your ex.
And you don't think that's happened before? You don't think that there's people that have been divorced that have had kids and they're not married?
I never said that it has never happened. I never said
No. But that's my point. You're talking about an understanding and maturity. All maturity means is you're able to handle certain situations that come your way. That's all maturity is.
Well, if I'm in a relationship, right? If I'm in a relationship, then I'm in that relationship. I'm not in sexually, whatever, if I'm committed to someone like that, then I'm not going to go and sleep with nobody else.
And how many people are there on the planet Earth?
Well, I ain't concerned with them. I'm concerned.
No.
I can't change them. I'm just talking about myself.
Correct. And that's why the guy was going through her phone.
When a man do try to jock and tell you who and when and how long you can and all of that stuff, that means he's a jealous nigga. And he needs to go head on about his business and find his next one, because I wouldn't be the one. I'm not gonna search your phone, check your clothes, and all of that other stuff. Now, without reason. Now, if I get suspicious of some stuff, that's different.
Oh, wait.
Oh, that make a difference.
Now you cross yourself up.
Yeah.
Now you cross yourself up. Yes, you know, because you just said you're not that individual, but if he gives you a reason. If you're not that individual, nobody can give you a reason to do something that you wouldn't do.
If call my house to tell me that she's sleeping with my man, that's the reason.
Okay, now let me throw this switch at you.
I'm going to have that, me and Shirley going to have to set his ass up so I can catch it.
But what if Shirley's trying to set you up so you end up jettisoning your man? See, this is how you set yourself in the catch. You put yourself in the kitchen.
I don't mess with women. So Shirley better not come this way.
But you just said Shirley called you.
It told me, and I said, if she called me and tell me, it's got to be like some concrete stuff I have to see.
Why does that have to be concrete? Why is that? That's just, that could be he say, that could be just something she throwing out there.
No, it can't be he say. She could say it, but I'm going to have to see it.
How are you going to see it if looking like this? If somebody's intent on setting an individual up, they will go to great lengths to make sure that they have some quote-unquote concrete evidence that get them set up. We see it all the time. Mm-hmm. People Photoshop pictures, they forge text messages. There's apps out there that you can do a whole lot of things with, believe me.
Visible to me.
Who just came in?
I can produce a picture that shows you something.
What?
I can produce a picture that shows you what I want you to see.
A picture don't mean nothing to me.
So what kind of evidence are you looking for when you say concrete?
I gotta see.
See as in what? You actually have to witness it? You actually have to witness it, your potential husband or boyfriend actually engaged in a sexual encounter with somebody?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how you do.
No, that's not how you do.
No. I'm telling you.
No, I'm telling you.
That's not hard to do. I don't do it. I don't have a reason to do it. I'm flagrant with mine. If I'm going to get down, I'm going to get down.
If it was my husband, then it would be that way.
Hey, let me break y'all a little spat out. I know the two people come in.
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Who's the 716-804?
How you doing today? I'm good. How are you?
Hey, Marcia.
Oh.
Yes, I was going to say that sound like Marcia.
Hello?
And
Go ahead.
Who else came in?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Marcia.
I need clarification. Okay, getting back to the cell phone issue. Me and my husband had a big argument about the cell phone thing. Now, my thing is this. Some things are just private. Right. And I don't think it has anything to do with cheating or anything like that. Right. But I feel like what's in my cell phone, I don't need you to go through it and I have to explain every single person to you. Because if it comes to that, that means you don't trust me. I'm jealous. And will beat your ass, isolate you from the world. No. And I just have a problem with that because when we had an incident where his phone was acting up or something, and he asked could he use my phone all day, and I told him no way, and he got really upset about it. He got upset to the point that he said, well, I'll just get the service cut off. I said, well, you do what you got to do because you're not getting my phone. So I felt at the time, and I was wondering after I said all of that, was I being childish or was this an inkling that he thought that I could have been cheating? But, I mean, it's just certain things, even though you're married, certain things you share together, then certain things that's your own personal stuff.
I look at it like
I
this.
have to share that with someone.
I look at it like this, Marcia. What was the point of him needing to use your phone all day, and that means you wouldn't have a phone? I don't understand.
That's
Like,
true.
what was the nature that he needed to have a phone with him instead of just going a day without a phone? What
So
was?
he can look through it and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, that
Because
sounds
at the
like it.
time when I was married, my husband was dead. But at the time I was married, he used to always say to me, "Nobody's going to want to be with you because you have gray hair." So I mean, if that's the way you feel, or are you saying that to belittle me? But I told him, I said, if that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel. I can't change your feeling. But he was sort of a controller too.
Yes,
And my whole thing was, no. We will just have a big blood on this day because you will not get my phone. And he really got upset about that. And, because I had listened to other people on different websites talking about, well, if you're married, of course you should let him go. No.
Listen, I bet you I can't go in his man cave and just ramble around, can I?
Oh, no.
You should be able to.
Who said that?
This is Jeff.
That was her.
This is Jeff Rivers.
What's going on, Jeff?
Yeah, guys. I'm in agreement with Jeff. You should be able to. But in my opinion, when you're in a relationship, there shouldn't have to be no secret in the relationship. And I already think it's an issue of a non-trust thing. But like I said, if y'all one, y'all should be one. And even in the fact when y'all was talking, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Even in the fact when they were talking about the having friends of you married or in a relationship, I think the problem in a lot of relationships nowadays is that when you get into a relationship, you're not free no more. And see, the thing is about in a relationship that's going to make it more successful, the both individuals have to be free. Meaning, like, you should be able to have the opposite sex friends. Because at the end of the day, you need that, like a man might need outside feminine energy. And just like that female, she might need some other masculine energy. Now, do I mean sleep together? No. Listen, even if you want to deal on that note, me too. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's just my opinion on that topic right there.
And also, I want to add to what he said that, and I should be able to take him around my male friends, and he should be able to take me around his female friends.
True.
That's true.
Now I'm going to draw a line there. That's a no-go zone. That's a no-go zone.
Why?
Why?
What if my best friend was a male? Together?
What did I just ask you earlier about infidelity and who's more likely to be the precipitator of? You don't mix your friends. You know why? Because you
isolate them and take them away from all their friends.
No. Because in particular, women have a very bad habit of disclosing intimate details about their partner. So who do you think, if they get upset at an individual and they see something, who do you think is going to be the first person to start hurling insults? Person that knows about their dirt. That's the number one way to sabotage your relationship.
But
this is why I disagree with that.
That's even with a female friend. I had a female friend that met 2 times in my life.
But that's my point.
And it was about good friends.
Whether it's male or female, I just use the female because females are bad at disclosing certain things. Guys will talk about sexual things. And if a guy that he's speaking to, whether it's a good friend or a casual friend, gets his curiosity, he's going to take a shot. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen. That's not true all the time, bro.
Right.
No. I'm not saying across the board. I'm not saying across the board, Jeff. What I'm saying is this. I'm saying it's a no-go zone because you don't want to put the temptation out there. I'll reference it again. It's the same reason why you cover.
I have to be watching.
So that means she shouldn't even be able to go outside the house.
Exactly.
She shouldn't even be able to go outside the house because it might not be a friend. It might be
exactly what it is. Isolation from society.
No, I'm saying you don't mix your friends. He has his friends.
Your friend.
Listen. That feels like check this out. Check this out, Herb. That's just like now we talking about society nowadays, what we need to do as a group of people. So that means a B.U. David and the sister right here, we had to go and get some land of our own, right? And we had to go feed ourselves, for survival. That means that we can't even be around one another because of temptation.
Right.
No. Here is a caveat that y'all are not factoring in.
No.
We're not dating.
You're not touching.
No, we're not dating. If I am in the business arrangement with you, I am not dating you. It's the old attitude, never mix business and pleasure, and that's why.
About husband and wife, I thought.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Let me add my piece to it. Let me add my piece to it.
When you mentioned about that you don't think that the wife's friends and the husband's friends should mingle, I don't see why not, because I feel like there is a certain respect.
That's what grown people do, man.
Watching the football game.
With couples.
I think
do not deal with individuals. Within couples, yes. This is why they have couples night.
I think for me personally, let me get this point. I think for me personally, I think it has to be like a trial type of situation. Maybe a short increment of time that you integrate these people, and you don't start off like at a major event, 3 or 4 hours. You got to fill people out and say, all right, it's okay for us to be around them because this person seems to run their mouth, or if they get some alcohol in their system, they're going to do this or that. So I think it has to be, sort of like crawl before you walk. Like a short time frame to kind of fill people out.
Let me ask you this, Dave. But in this scenario, right, like say you got brothers, right? Now they brothers. Should your mate or your wife be able to come around your brothers? Because sometimes it could be your brother that's one sleeping with your woman.
I have a question. I have a statement to make about that, and I see what the other guy was saying, because my whole thing is this. Okay, if we're mature adults, if I have single friends, girlfriends, or whether they're married couples, my thing is this. It's a form of respect. And for me to say I can't be around my husband's friends, well, they know I'm married to him. So I'm saying to myself, they may have whatever in their mind, but to be disrespectful, I don't think that would happen. But it's all in how the woman carries herself, too.
Right.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And if it did happen, I would tell him the first time, don't let it happen again. And if it happened again, then I'll tell my husband.
Let me play devil's.
It might be too.
Let me play devil's advocate on this, because I've posted stuff like that, and if you belong to different groups, when you throw that scenario out that you and your for example, if you and your wife or husband have your own house, and your sister gets evicted and she has to come live with you. Most women in there said, hell no, and that's their sister. They was like, hell no woman is going to be around my man like that. So
they don't trust their husband.
That's what I was saying.
That's right.
But that's the whole point. This is why I made the statement about maturity. Maturity has nothing to do with when a biological pulse and earth comes along. All that mess goes out the door.
Man.
I'm kind of agree.
Hey, babe, I think another thing, no women don't trust their husband, first of all, because if they trusted their husband, they wouldn't have no problem with it. Even if she did, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of that has to do sometimes the men. Because most of the time, we the ones going to push up first. We're going to be the ones that push up first. I mean, she might get whatever, but we're going to be the ones to engage the you know what I mean.
Well, I think we may be the first one we might say something verbally, but they may do that non-direct stuff by coming out with something skimpy on, darting past you while you watching a game or something like that.
Even when coming on with something skimpy, I mean, to me, in my opinion, I think that she should be able to wear what she wants. Like I said, I think that I think we have came as a people, man. We done came a long way as people, because if that's the game, if you want to go back, we used to be in tribes. They used to walk around naked, top showing. But once again, we're in a different day and time too. I mean, we might have to grow up some more for all this to happen. But come on, man. I mean, you said it.
Yeah.
We got to grow up.
And I had another comment too, and I kind of agree with her, because I feel like some women, not all women, have a tendency when they with their girlfriends, they sit around and talk their intimate stuff about their man to these women. Well, of course, when you do that, of course you're opening that gate.
Exactly.
And allowing women to, well, let me see what I can do, sort of attitude. But see, I think what goes on between my husband and I on an intimate level should stay that way.
That's right.
I don't think it's something that should be up for discussion with men nor women.
With nobody.
Really.
But how often are those rules of engagement violated?
I think if it's a real woman, they ain't violated.
No, because there is a difference between a girl and a woman.
Sure is.
But who's to say who engages in what behavior and when? 30 years ago, we would have never thought we would see women sleeping with their male students. What do we hear about now in schools?
Yeah,
women sleeping with their male students. Well, how often do we not hear about that?
And that was a very immature decision, too, because now she's going to jail. She done lost her life this petite.
Once again,
if she had a husband, he probably gone, too, with the kids. So that
once
was a real
again,
immature decision for her to make.
Once again, stop conflating maturity with a biological urge.
The biological urge, my ass.
So let me ask you this, So you keep saying biological urge, right? You keep saying a biological urge. So that means that even as a group, that we shouldn't even be dealing with the opposite sex. I mean, because at the end of the day, that biological urge is going to come up. So we can't control ourselves. We shouldn't even be dealing with women in business.
Let me put it to you like this. How many times have we heard recently about a guy losing his job because he said something inappropriately to a female coworker? Just said something.
A lot of times. Okay.
Hold on. Stop right there. Marcia. Stop, Marcia.
That a lot of times.
Because you're not in that line of words. Matt Lauer just lost his job.
I ain't gonna say a lot of times, but I didn't heard of people saying stuff like that. But once again, I think it's an individual thing. I think it's an individual thing.
Today,
I don't disagree.
Most employers make people take a sexual harassment because things that you don't even think of sexual harassment could be.
Yeah.
So most of them got this training that's an hour and a half long that you have to take on a yearly basis.
Man, that training don't stop people. That training don't stop people from saying stuff.
Huh?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I said that training don't stop people from saying stuff. Half of the time you fast forward it, you answer the questions, and you get a passing test.
Aware of some of the stuff.
Yeah, you make it aware. That's the only
Let
thing.
me ask you this question. Everybody knows about DWI laws, correct?
Huh?
Everybody knows about DWI laws, correct?
Yeah.
How often do people get behind the wheel and drive drunk?
Very good. A lot of times.
It's the exact same premise with sexual harassment. I don't care how much training you get, it doesn't stop the biological urge of an individual. So if you see something, hold on.
But let me tell you what it do to.
Hold on.
Sandra can't stop when she get going.
If you see something that titillates you on a biological level, you respond to it. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. You just respond to it.
I don't need to go outside then.
I work with the public. I've been working with the public for 30 years. Trust me, I've seen it all. I do security.
I don't need to go outside, and I don't need to work with women in the workplace then, if that's the thing. Then.
Hey, I'm just saying. There are some guys who don't for that reason. There are some guys who go into blue-collar work because they don't have to deal with women. I'm telling you, and you don't have to take my word for it.
But that's the thing with that thing. I think that's the thing with that. See, I'm a barber, and see, I deal with women all day long. And like I said, I mean, I got, you know what I mean. So once again, I mean, I can't go for that because, like I said, if I did, I wouldn't be able to come outside. I wouldn't even be able to deal with, you know what I mean, in society if it's like that. I mean, I understand what you said, but once again, I think it's on individuals. At the end of the day, on an animalistic, pardon me?
If they want their wife or not.
It has nothing to do with if they want their wife or not.
Go ahead, Mr. Phillips. I'm sorry.
I think it's all based on the individual.
What's your name?
River.
Who?
Oh, River.
What's your first name?
Like I said, at the end of the day, I think it's the individuals, and you know, like I said, as a people, you know, we need to grow up some more. We can't deal with, you know, in the workplace or even with the friendship thing, because even with me, I'm at the point that I want to be free, you know, and you know, like I said, I have women friends that I do not deal with and don't even think with like that. Sometimes it's more on a counseling thing. You understand what I'm saying? And once again, I think both parties actually need an outside source sometime to talk to. You know, I mean, you know, some you got people in relationships that's miserable. You know what I mean? Just because they can't have a friend, they got to come to get this same old drawn out energy. They need some different masculine energy. Once again, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about straight up. I ain't talking about, okay, he started getting me, we stopped in, we started sleeping. Nah, we need to grow up. And I think that's why a lot of marriages is suffering nowadays. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're not free. And when you ain't free, you're miserable. You got to be able to be free.
And my thing is, to me, it comes back to the trust value thing, because just like Mr. Rivers said, I mean, women, and especially me, I like to give men's opinions on certain things. And I do think a man and a woman can be friends, because once you become friends, you know the boundaries. And at any point in time, if she starts having feelings or he should have feelings, that's something that should be discussed. I don't think that, you know, a friendship should be impaired because, or impaired because I want you more. I want to be more than just a friend. Because we already discussed that. You know, we're going to be a friend. A friend to me is somebody I can go to for advice, I could hang out with,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be on a sexual level.
Right.
And I think a lot of men look at it differently than women because the first thing, oh, no, my wife can't have guy friends. Because what do you know, is she in the bed or he, no. But see,
Right.
that goes back
Right.
to trust issues. Because, like,
Right.
they always say, know your personnel type thing. If you know your personnel or the person you're dealing with, these problems would never occur.
Right.
And if they do
Trust
occur,
issues with
it should be a
insecurity.
point where you can talk about
And insecurity.
I mean,
What are the two, maybe three, only guarantees in life?
You gonna die? What's one?
What's the other one?
what,
You're
taxes?
going to live until you
What is
die.
Yeah.
I put that one, and you give me the other two.
Taxes.
Mm.
You're going to be born, you're going to pay taxes, you're going to die. Those are the only things you'll be born, you'll die, and you'll pay taxes. Those are the only three guarantees in life. This is why people go to great lengths to ensure that they are not tempted by something that mortal men or mortal persons can be tempted by. We all know the parable of Adam and Eve. I don't think there's a person on this planet, regardless of what your religious affiliation is.
What's your parable?
Listen, let's don't put
It's not
Adam
mine.
and Eve in this.
I mean, just tell me.
It's not mine. It's not my parable.
Okay,
Let's not put Adam and Eve.
Listen, folks. Because we about to.
What's your parable of Adam and Eve, please?
We're not going to even go there with Adam and Eve. We're not going to even go there.
Thank you.
Let me just say this. We can all talk this stuff in theory, but I don't know how many people, for example, the married couple, and the woman says, I'm going to hang out with Clinton today and all of that. I mean, or the guy is going to hang out with Keisha, and they're hanging out. I just don't know how often that really happens. I just don't know if that's really being real, that people just accept that, because a lot of times when people get married, they say, shit, I'm your best friend now. We're best friends, or you don't need this person no more. And I think, like, far as a man's pride, for you to have to go to another man, that's kind of, a lot of men won't go for it, especially like an alpha man. He's not going to really go for.
Have you been married, David?
Nah, not at all.
Okay. So I guess my thing is, and I guess I'm just speaking through experience, because I've been married and I understand certain things now that I didn't understand when I was married. And even with my mate or my wife, once again, I'm talking about, when I talk about being free, I'm talking about personal. You know what I mean? And once again, when I lost a part of myself when I got married, and that was damaging to my relationship or my marriage. So I understand what you're saying, the myth thing, this and this and that, but I'm speaking out of experience for myself, what I've learned. And God willingly, if I ever be married again, I would allow that to happen. Or, you know what I mean? Because like I said, with me, I mean, like I said, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think once again that we as a people, we need to start changing a certain more things. And like I said, look at the marriage rate of divorce, and why is that? What's going on? It's the trust issue. It's the insecurity issue. Yeah. And then let me tell you something. As being a man, pardon me?
Most of it comes from previous relationships.
Well, Herbert said that before, Sandra, and you tried to disagree.
Come from previous relationships.
Well, the divorce rate has a lot of components to it, and it has less to do with trust. Believe me, I can break that down, but we're not going to get into that. Maybe we'll get into that next one. the divorce rate has nothing to do with trust. It has everything to do with need. And women now are at the point where they don't, quote unquote, need a man. Everything that they need a man for, they can go out and secure on their own. And that's what a lot of women are doing. And this is why you see a lot of it with third-wave feminism. They don't need a man to work for them because they go out and earn their own. They don't need a man for protection. They can go out and buy a gun. They can go get their best friend.
I don't believe that either.
Yeah, you're telling things a lie. You're saying something is a lie when you haven't investigated it. That's the biggest problem that I had with people. They hear something.
How do you know what I've investigated or what I've lived?
I think that's what society wants us to believe, especially as black men.
I have not spoken on your life.
I think that's what society wants us to believe, especially as black men, that our women don't need us no more. But see, that's the thing. They really do need us.
Right. And you know what? They started that way before.
I never made this specific to an ethnicity. Gotta pay attention to what I say. I never use ethnicity to make those statements.
I said this is what I said. I think that's what society wants, and I said I think society
the numbers
wants
bear that out. Look at
society wants that to go against us for real, as pointed directly to us as men. I think that got, you know what I mean? And I know you didn't, but I'm saying that I think that's geared to us, a lot for us.
But it isn't though. Divorce is up across the board. Marriage is down across the board. That's in every ethnicity and Western culture. Similarly, there's a birth rate is dropping. This is why they're starting to roll back all this abortion. And this is why I was making these comments at the top of the show. People need to start paying attention to what is going on. I'm not making this up. Things that I have.
The birth rate dropping is geared strictly towards the white folks. They're the ones going to be extinct.
And I'm gonna call you on your ignorance because you don't know. You haven't looked at the numbers. The birth rate for every demographic in America is down.
Sound like that's another show, gang.
Down across the board. Don't look at any metric and it's down.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't know.
Listen. Okay, well, I understand. I guess I understand what you're saying, but I guess for real, we didn't got from us having a relationship with another woman or friend. You know what I mean? Man.
That's how these conversations go, Jeff. That's how they go, man. That's how they go.
Pardon me. Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
I appreciate you telling me that. You know, this is my first time.
Yeah, I know. That's how they go, man. But listen.
I just comment. But my whole thing is this. All of this starts back to how people relate to other people. And I've said, and I'll continue to say, life is nothing but one relationship. It's how you relate to things. It's how you relate to situations. It's how you relate to people. Some people will say that a biological impulse is a sign of the inability to control a biological impulse is a lack of maturity. When you have to go to the bathroom, there is nothing immature about having to go to the bathroom. If you have to go blow up the bathroom, you go blow up the bathroom. Some people say, that's no, that's human. That's a human action. Having an orgasm is a human action. Some people are incapable of having an orgasm. They go seek help because it's unnatural. These are all the things that we don't look at separately. So when you don't look at them separately and you put them together, well, you can label anything you want to. This is why we have people walking around now that think they males when they females and vice versa. We have people that want to get gender reassignment surgery because they don't feel right in their body. And we say, what the hell is this? These weren't issues 40 years ago. No, they weren't. They were just pushed aside. If you look at I can't remember the name of the manual, all the stuff that was being reclassified as a disorder are being put in these books. Read this stuff, people. The information is out there. I'm not making this up.
Talking about that DM five, yeah, that's
Yes.
They got the 5 now.
yeah, that's the every little thing is in there. Every little thing is in there. Diagnose any little
They
thing.
even got in there if you hit by helicopter propeller. I mean, airplane propeller. Come on now.
But hey, we way over. Listen, we way over time. I want to give everybody their last closing statement, and we're gonna get up out of here. And we'll be back next week. It doesn't end. It doesn't end.
Hey, David, it's unfortunate. We have to go.
I'm just trying to honor.
Just when it's getting good.
Right.
I'm just trying to honor people's time. I say 9 to 10. We went into overtime, triple overtime. So, and
Okay.
so I'm just trying to do that because we can go on. We could be on this joint to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and having conversation. And that's what it's about anyway, being open and being free to have conversation. But the thing is, when you try to have replays and do it over, people their attention span is not gonna last that long to listen to something.
Right back, yeah.
So that's the thing what you do when you're trying to brand something. Most people they'll click on something in 5-10 minutes and then they're out. So you have to you have to honor that time. Unfortunately, because this is like a damn movie. We've been on here for like an hour and a half.
I enjoyed it though. I so enjoyed it.
Look, y'all should be sitting around the kitchen table talking about this crap.
Yeah, the thing ultimately the thing is to have face-to-face conversations like this.
We try and do this with the super but people don't show up all the time.
Huh?
We try. David has done sipping dips on a number of occasions a week. And he puts these together, and we try to get people to come out so we can have these dialogues in real time.
You didn't show up last week, that's you talking.
David didn't show up last week. You know why?
Last week at his book signing.
No, we didn't have a show last week.
Huh?
She was talking about at the book signing. She said you wasn't there, but you were sick.
Book signing though in Niagara Falls last week.
And you know why I was at the book signing?
It don't really matter. I was just reminding you. That's all.
But see, now you're trying to be my mother. Let me give you a little synopsis.
Y'all supposed to be giving a closing statement, and then y'all. What'd you say? I gotta have better control.
I work 6 days a week. I'm a busy man. On top of all the other things that I do. So if I don't show up somewhere, it's because I have a prior engagement. There's been Dave will tell you this, there has been nobody that has supported him in his shows more so than I.
Don't take it personal.
No, it's not about taking it personal. You made it personal when you make the statement.
Closing statement?
I'm giving my closing statement, man.
Go
ahead, Mr. Rivers.
I appreciate y'all. My closing statement, I think that, I think that us as men and women, we need to reevaluate ourselves and change certain things about us, especially about with this relationship thing. Meaning like, we should be able to have friends, you know what I mean? And like I said, keep it strictly friends. And so you got to be honest and truthful at this thing too. And I think that's where that's where we went wrong with all the creeping and all the, the devilsman stuff. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I think that, we should be able to have opposite sex as friends. And, that's just how I feel at this present time.
Thank you, Jeff. Who's next?
I appreciate you, David.
I appreciate you too, brother. Who's next? Sandra.
It's Marcy.
Oh, Marcia, go ahead.
I feel like Mr. Rivers did as far as commingling and everything. Excuse me. Because just like I said, even though Herb still says it's not about maturity, but to me, maturity plays a big part in people's reactions to things. And my thing is this. as a woman, I would not want to be isolated from men because when you're working, you're going to meet all kinds of people. But being mature allows you to allow certain people in your circle. That's all I have to say.
All right.
Sounds good.
Sandra.
Okay. For me, I think that first of all, like the song say, you ain't my daddy and I ain't your mama. You know, that's wrong. And one thing, if you don't trust who I am, okay, so say they're around us and we don't trust them. Like, okay, so say he see a man around me, he don't trust him. He could come and talk to me and say, well, look, what you think about this or something like that, but not go and address him for me because I can handle myself. So I agree with maturity. I hate insecurities because that do isolate you from the world, even family sometimes. And if you don't trust me, then what we're doing together.
All right. Herb.
Oh, I'm just lining up the things from next week's show. So I'm gonna look at the birth rate demographic. We're gonna break down impulse control.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we gonna talk about maturity. We gonna put a nice neat bow on this so people can understand just exactly how all of this plays in. Because Jeff, you mentioned it earlier. And I don't know if anybody else caught it, but you were speaking about the metaphysical side of relationships. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that there's an energy between certain individuals that's unavoidable. And it either brings us together closer or repels us. Just like they say, a dog will bark around certain people because that person gives off a bad vibe. Same thing.
All right. So with that said, you see how these conversation goes. Like it could be one thing. I always say it could be one point. Then we can just kind of throw the rest of the topic out because we'll hone in on that particular area. But one of the things I want to say with the trust issue and the communication, we also have to keep in mind that we're in a different day and time now where you could be communicating with someone and your other person mate doesn't have to know because of the world of social media or texting and all that. Remember before it used to be either they had to come over or they would call on that damn Conair phone you had on the wall. So therefore you seen and heard a lot of the things that were being said until then you got cordless phones and that kind of took it to another level. But I just think a lot of people are uncomfortable with the unknown part of what is being said if they're not clued into everything. So we're going to come back next week with, as you heard Herb said, with a lot of different other components, the maturity piece. What was the other thing you said?
Birth rate
demographic. Oh yes, impulse control.
Right,
so
right.
This it goes into so many layers, these different things. So one thing builds off of another. So hey, I'm looking forward to next week's show. Make sure y'all come on with the same energy, invite a friend, and please respond throughout the week with the different posts that I put out there. And then share the video. This one is long, but hey, people can get what they want out of it. They can always watch some of it, turn it off, come back to it. But hey, it is what it is. Good conversation. And sometimes when you have a good conversation, 2 or 3 hours can go by without you even paying attention. So I'm out on that note. Everybody have a productive week and stay tuned for the post that's going to be coming in watch parties and things like that. I'm out, folks. Peace.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace. Everybody have a good night.